Hey everyone, this is Courtney Wade here with you all today, and we have Christian rapper Dee-1 joining me. Dee, I'm so glad, we have you here on TPI once again. Like I said, the last time we had like a little rap battle going on, but that's not happening today because I was not good at
Yeah,
that.
you lost. You definitely
I
lost.
did.
Yeah.
But that's okay. See, we have other stuff to talk about now. But no, just with everything just going on right now, with protests and then, of course, the horrific death of George Floyd, I believe a change is coming and, things are finally changing little by little. What are your thoughts about it? And then, and also, what are your thoughts about the climate of our nation right now?
Right. So it's only so long that you can hold people down and not address the inhumane treatment and the oversight of all of the racist behavior that still exists in America. It's only so long that could be in existence for. It seems like the murder of George Floyd is what do they say, the straw that broke the camel's back. So what we're seeing right now is unprecedented. This is actually a great time to be alive. God obviously chose all of us who are alive during this time to be on earth in this specific moment in history, because I feel like God knows that we were equipped to be the people that could unify and that could be consistent enough to see this change and this revolution through to completion. So I'm
Yeah.
honored that God chose us to be alive during this time. And I hate that we still have to go through this in, what's this, 2020 in America. I hate that we still having to go through this, but without struggle, there's no progress.
Yeah.
So I mean, at this point, the progress is something that we have something very important working on our behalf at this point, and it's called momentum. So we have momentum right now because you have more people than ever from different ethnicities and different age ranges. I'm talking about black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Everyone is coming together, unifying, saying, "Yo, Black Lives Matter. Um, Police need to be checked in terms of how they just out here wilding, and they need to have checks and balances in place to be held accountable for when they're out here killing people that are unarmed." Uh, Now that we have that momentum going, it's important not to let this become another fad that just it was something for us to do because we had coronavirus and we were all tired of being inside. So we got excited about this movement for 30 days. It's like, no, we got to keep this momentum going,
Mhm.
keep this energy going. All the great movements in history, they actually lasted a pretty long time. Like if you look back at the civil rights movement, even you look back at the biblical days. I mean, these movements aren't 1 day or 1 week or 2 week things.
Right.
So I think that's where we are right now, and I think the state of America, the state of our country, is such that um, people, I would say more than ever, people are just tired of beating around the bush and acting like racism doesn't exist. Racism is arguably the most uh pressing issue that our country, faces, because racism, systemic racism, is actually the foundation of where a lot of other issues
Lie.
branch off from. The
Okay.
systemic racism and oppression is the foundation of a lot of other issues existing. When you talk about the education disparities, when you talk about the income gap, the racism that this country has been rooted in has contributed to all of these problems. So now, if
Exactly.
we're unearthing that, this is gonna be an interesting time to see how different this country looks. And some people are afraid of that change.
Mm.
Some people are really afraid of that change because they're like, yo, I'm so used to feeling elite and feeling bigger and better and more privileged than people who don't look like me, because we truly want it to be equal for everyone. You feel me?
Yeah. And now you spoke a little bit about like, keeping the momentum going. Now, do you think that it will keep going, after say 30 days, after, a month or two? Because I agree, we do need to keep it going because that's how we're going to really see a change. So,
Yes. Courtney, I do think it's gonna keep going this time
yeah.
because there's so many different elements that are all coming together at once. Number one, this is an election year.
Mm-hmm.
So you have, you have two candidates who are both going to be trying their hardest to make sure that they insert themselves into this conversation. So all this is equaling is, because it's an election year, this topic will not die down. There's no way in November that they won't be talking about the protests in the streets of America that are taking place right now in June. There's no way that they won't be talking about the killing and the potential defunding of the police and the killing of unarmed Black men and women. So
Right.
this is not gonna die down. And I would be disappointed in humanity if we let it die down and act like it's not a big deal moving forward. Because
Yeah.
it's
'Cause
not gonna be a big. It shouldn't not be a big deal until it's no longer an issue. When it's no longer an issue, that's when we can say, I bet it's not a big deal anymore because we successfully killed that issue. So we have work to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. And this is so big right now, and it's just like, and I want that momentum to continue to keep going. And like you said, it's an election year, and we're seeing the change. And this is, worldwide. 18 other countries, have joined in protesting as well. So it's not even just the U.S. seeing America needs to change. It's, so many other countries too. So now, with you being from New Orleans, what changes would you like to see in regards to justice and equality, like in your hometown?
In my hometown. So I will say that in New Orleans, I think that we have it better than some other cities because with the police, for example, the police are not perfect, but in New Orleans, the police are a lot of our homeboys who we grew up with in the hood. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like they just ended up becoming police officers to the
Yeah.
point where there's a natural connection and familiarity between a lot of the police force. It's not like the police force is a bunch of racist rednecks that are infiltrating the neighborhoods of New Orleans. It's a lot of people who we grew up with and who we know we've crossed paths with over the course of our lives that are policemen now. The police force is far from perfect, though, definitely. And they still have some crooked cops, definitely, in the New Orleans police department. So I would just like to see people do what they're supposed to do, which is protect and serve. I would like to see people not using excessive force when it comes to apprehending and arresting people. They just killed a brother. This didn't make the national news yet, but they just killed a brother down here. He was a rapper here in New Orleans, and I
Wow.
wasn't there, but the story is that the police shot him while he was in handcuffs and while he was like, he had his cell phone. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
he was reaching for his cell phone because he was recording them as all this was happening, and they shot him and
Oh,
killed him.
wow.
At the end of the day, we just want to feel like the people who are put here to protect and serve us are not hunting us. You feel me?
Exactly. Now, let's kind of dive into your music a little bit. I know you have a really unique style, which I think is really awesome. It just kind of reaches a wide range of people, but more so like the younger generation. What personality traits do you think contribute to your music the most?
I would say one is honesty.
Okay.
Definitely, I try to be very honest. And all right, so it's a few. It's honesty. It's vulnerability. Um, I see the value in me being vulnerable in my music and me being honest because that allows for me to connect with people. The next one will be authenticity. Because although I've been influenced by other artists, I'm never trying to be another artist when I get on the microphone and make music. I think my authenticity is something that bleeds through and it shines through and it connects with people. I know it does. I've been told that countless times, the authenticity. A teacher, to
Mm-hmm.
like I used to be a real life teacher in the classroom, and I think that trait of me wanting to be an educator is something that also bleeds onto the microphone, to where usually a story that I'm telling has an end goal where I'm trying to bring people to, and it's like, here's the moral of the story, here's the lesson that hopefully people learn from this. So I would say those traits, and also fun, lightheartedness,
Energetic too.
there you go. Oh, that's the word I was looking for. Passion. I
Oh
think
yes.
I think that the passion that I have as a man definitely it translates on the microphone, and I think people can hear it.
Now, do you see yourself ever going back to, like you said, you were once an educator. Do you see yourself ever teaching again?
Do I see myself ever teaching again? So the good thing is, I still teach to this
Okay.
day. I still teach. I just don't teach in the classroom anymore. I feel like I have a much bigger classroom. So every stage I'm ever on,
So you're music.
every interview I do, every time I drop a new project, I'm teaching. I've been able to revolutionize the way that I teach and the way that I get my messages out. So that's been the fun part. I haven't been teaching just formally in a classroom, but I still do a ton of speaking engagements at universities, at high schools, at middle schools, with youth groups, at conferences all around America. So that is still a form of teaching. And yeah, in terms of if I would go back, this is one thing I have thought of is, would there ever be a time where maybe I would want to A, start my own school, or B, become like a professor on a collegiate level? I have thought about that stuff. I'm still in love with being a rapper though.
Okay.
I'm still in love with that side of it. So that's what I'm focused on.
Now, you recently posted a video in appreciation to Tupac's mother, Miss Afina Shakur. And one thing you stated, which I thought was a really powerful statement, you said the people closest to us are the last to acknowledge our talent. If you could, just kind of go in further detail about, what you mean by that. And then also for those who may not know the story, could you kind of briefly just share that moment?
Of course. So I started rapping when I was in college. I went to LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I had recently gotten saved and rededicated my life to Christ. And I went from rapping and like cursing and having a bunch of like negative messages in my music to all of a sudden being like, hold on, like my whole life and my whole worldview is different now. So my music, although I was just starting out, I made a shift instantly. And I said, if I'm going to keep doing music, it has to be something that God is proud of. So as I'm doing that, Miss Afina Shakur, Tupac's mother, comes to my campus to do a speaking event. And I get asked to open up for her essentially by performing, but prior to her coming on stage. And it wasn't because I was so good at the time at rapping. I had just started, but it's because they knew that my heart was in the right place, so that I would, it wouldn't be this contradiction where we got Miss Afina Shakur coming up and then we got a rapper on stage opening up for her that's rapping about killing people and selling dope and all that. They knew that, like, okay, D1, that's the dude that now he puts like the positive messages out in his music. So I performed. This was probably my second time ever performing too. Like I wasn't super experienced, but one thing I always had on the microphone was passion. So I forgot what I rapped, what song I did, but when I got off stage, she came over to me and hugged me. And while I was rapping, I'm seeing her in the front row just vibing to it. Like she vibing up and down and she looking at me, giving me that eye contact. And I'm like, oh, Miss Afina feeling me. I'm like, all right, this was up right here. So when I got off stage, she came over and she said, sweetheart, she said, your lyrics and your passion when you were on that stage reminded me of my son. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
wow. So that always stuck with me because that's what I call a keep going moment. A keep going moment is one of those moments when it validates what you feel in your heart, which is, hey, I really think I could do this on a large level. But I don't know, because my friends around me, they're not really telling me I'm dope, or they're not really, you know, trying to help push me or champion me, but I feel like I'm good. And to have Tupac's mom give me a compliment like that, that was a keep going moment. And that's what I spoke about was to this day, I still remember the impact that her words had on me. And she might not know it, you know, may she rest in peace right now. But those words definitely helped a young college student who had just started rapping keep going. And now I look at the amount of people I've been able to reach through my gift and through my music, and I attribute a good bit of that to Miss Afeni Shakur giving me that compliment, telling me my lyrics and my passion reminded her of Tupac that influenced me. Because people can look at me now, but they don't know those keep going moments and those special stories that help to propel me, you know. So that's one of them.
Now, would you say that moment really shaped the way you just look at yourself and your gift?
That's a great question. It's definitely like a confidence boost when you look in the mirror, and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, I'm kind of like Tupac, you know, like it feels good if you say that based on what Tupac's mama told you. And I would say what it did for me was it did shape the way that I looked at myself and my gift, because I realized that I'm not in a rapping competition with other people. It's like, no, like I'm in a competition with the evil spirits in this world that are trying to hold people down and keep people disconnected from their God-given purpose. I'm in a competition with those spirits to make sure that through my gift and through using my slingshot, you know, my passion, that I can help people connect and align with what God has designed for them. So it did remind me of that. Like it's not just a rap competition out here. And that's been something that at different moments, you know how, I don't know if you ever go through this, but there can be certain things that you just know deep down. It can be affirmations that you tell yourself in the morning of how great you are, or how intelligent you are, how beautiful you are, or how, how God has shaped you to use your skills. You can know all of these things, but you can get so caught up in the fast pace of the world we live in that sometimes you can forget these simple foundational affirmations that remind you of how great you are. And I've had moments in my career where I get so caught up in the industry side of things, or like now I have, a pretty big operation going. So I get so caught up in doing various things on a daily basis that I might forget that stuff, and I might think that I'm just in a rapping competition against other rappers. And it's like, nah, like when I'm at my best, I'm remembering the foundation of, man, like I was put into this game to empower people through my lyrics. And the lyrics are meant to still be great and catchy and dope, but there's something else. There's the energy, there's the passion, there's the spirit behind the lyrics that I bring that have the transformative power.
That's so real, because like how you said, you have those moments, I do have those moments too, where I have to remind myself, like, okay, I am who God says I am. He has this purpose for me. I need to keep going. So even that story that you mentioned, that's even like how you said she shared that with you and how it kept you going.
That's so true, yo. That's absolutely true. And that goes for everybody that's watching this. It's important to tell your story, because your story is automatically gonna inspire someone else when they hear it. Because number one, you own it. So that's like the greatest gift that you can give to this world, is to tell your story, because it doesn't matter how big the audience is. You can be telling it to your kids, it can be to your friends, to your significant other, to a classroom full of students, to the internet full of millions of people. It doesn't matter who all you tell it to, but it's just important to tell your story.
What do you have coming up now? What's new that's coming out, for your fans?
Yeah. So I have a brand new single that's dropping in a week. So that'll be June 25th. this, we talking about being a revolutionary, and we talking about the times that we living in and what's going on. And this single right here, this captures everything that's going on in the world right now. I'm talking about not just George Floyd. I'm talking about everything. That's 2020 has been a heck of a year. I lost my grandmother a couple months ago. That was my queen. That was my heart right there. Between that, and just at this point, 2020 speaks for itself. Everything that's been going on, like all the trials and tribulations that the world has been facing, there has to be music that can help us make sense of all of this and still unify everybody to move forward together. And that's what this new single does. So it's called Long Time Coming.
Okay.
You can go pre-order it right now. So you can pre-order it on iTunes, on Amazon, Google Play. You can pre-add it on Spotify. So I want everybody to go pre-add it, pre-save it.
And what's the date again?
Huh?
What's the date again? Just so everybody knows.
June 25th.
Okay.
So,
June 25th.
Yeah, June 25th. So I'm really excited for this single to come out. I know that this one is a game changer.
Yeah.
This one is a game changer right here. This one is a life changer for people.
So in the midst of everything going on right now, what is giving you life? What is putting a smile on your face?
What's putting a smile on my face?
Look, you smiling right now.
I am. Because I know that God shows me to be in the prime of my life right now, to be able to lead people and unify people to get through what otherwise may be holding them down and holding them back from living their best life. I'm thankful that God has thought enough of me to have chosen me to be alive during this time. So that means a lot. I'm in a great place in terms of my relationship with my family. Like, that's something that quiet is kept. That's something that has had ups and downs over recent years. Ironically, with my grandmother passing a few months ago, like 4 months ago at this point, it actually made me and my family get a lot tighter than we've ever been. And I'm thankful for that. So it just shows how amazing my grandma is, that even through her transitioning and going to be with Jesus, she was still able to unify, us, like only she could do. So thankful for that, like really happy about that. And the last thing I would say that I'm excited about is, all right, so the coronavirus changed a lot for me, yo. Like, it canceled. I had a tour that was starting the next day. It was starting on March 13th. Found out on March 12th, because of coronavirus, the whole tour was canceled, right? All of my speaking engagements and all of my upcoming concerts and festivals and everything I was doing were all canceled due to coronavirus. And this is everything I had up through like August and September, right? What it did was it forced me to reapproach my business model, to where I said, man, I'm gonna be sitting inside for a long time, so I need to think about different ways to do things. So one thing it did was it allowed me to I started an online community that's a subscription based community. So it's on Patreon. So Patreon.com, that's a website that allows for people to go and subscribe to get exclusive content from me, like how they would from Netflix or another site like that, to where it's subscription based monthly, but you get exclusive content. So I've been able to start the Mission Vision podcast. That's only for my Patreon users, right? I've been able to do online concerts. I'm actually doing my third online concert on June 26th, and it's only for my Patreon subscribers, though. We have like the best time. Like, we turn all the way up. Everybody gets to watch me performing online, and it's dope. Like, that's one of the perks of people being part of my Patreon community. What else have I done in that? I get to show people behind the scenes access to different things that they don't normally see me post on social media. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, for example, like I'm doing this interview right now. Like I'm recording on my cell phone right now to show, because I'm gonna show everybody. I'm gonna
Yeah.
show them like
Okay.
this is what a day is like for me.
Yeah.
You know, in the middle of my day, I'm doing this this interview with you for TPI,
Mhm.
and this is something I get to take people into my world in a way that I don't do on social media. So that's what Patreon is all about. So that's been something that I'm smiling about, because we're building an amazing community on there. I call it Team Mission Vision, you know. So everybody in Team Mission Vision is lit, they're unifying, and it feels good for me to interact with people who enjoy supporting what I do and
Yeah.
enjoy supporting what it is I'm building. Like, that's rare. Like, just because people follow you on Instagram and Facebook doesn't mean that they really enjoy supporting you. They could be following you because they're nosy and they just want to keep up with your moves.
Yeah. And I believe also, God wanted us to kind of like, take that next step to try to figure out, okay, continue with this purpose that I have for you, but, let's do it in a different way.
That's what this is. And coronavirus definitely made me have to take a different step than I was used to taking, but I'm excited about it, you know?
Yeah. So thank you so much, TPI family, for tuning in once again. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you, Dee, for joining
Awesome.
us.
Have a blessed day and keep up the great work. All right, Queen?
Oh, thank you so much. All right.